Good afternoon, YouTube. It's man always George Page coming to you live on YouTube. As you know, we all got a few more days left of February, which is the month of Black History Month, and I try to do videos to recognize people who have, done some great things in our community. But this one person, well, she has done something great. She made some history, being both the first woman and first person of color, or actually the second person of color to be Secretary of State under a president. And I'm not a fan of this president. We all know George W. Bush was uh, probably the worst president. He brought the country to a war that had no business being into another country. He created probably the recession, one of the worst recessions that hit the country, and since next to the Great Depression. And this is one Miss Condoleezza Rice. Now you know Miss Rice. She was the first woman to become Secretary of State during the Bush administration, and the second person of African descent to be under him as Secretary of State. The first was the late General Colin Powell. Now, Condoleezza was born November 14th, 1954. That makes her a Scorpio like myself. She was born like I think a day before one of my siblings was born on the 14th. I forgot which one. And it's surprised she says a birthday with him. Now she was born in she was born. Let me get everything's correct. She was born in Birmingham, Alabama. And that's around the time of the early years of the civil rights movement. And she was born to her mother, Angelina Rice, and her father, John Wesley Rice Jr. And he was the only child. And her parents, her mother was a school teacher, and his father was a guidance counselor and also a Presbyterian preacher. Now, he also was a dean. Now, her name Condoleezza Rice derives from the music-related term Condoleezza. It's Italian meaning. I don't know what it is, with sweetness. And that's now her American roots was going back to pre-Civil War area, and some of her ancestors worked in sharecroppers. So that's one thing we have in common. Now, when she was growing up, she went to like probably all girls school, and she was into figure skating. She taught French, music, ballet. She did it when she was 3. And at 15, she began classes with the goal of becoming a concert pianist. She had talent for music. Now, by 67, her family moved to Denver, Colorado, where she attended St. Mary's Academy, an all-girls Catholic school. And then by 71, she graduated at 16 years old. That's pretty good. Now she enrolled in the University of Denver, where her father was serving as a assistant dean. Now, she eventually got a major as a sophomore in music and went on to Aspen. Went on to the Aspen Music Festival school. Now later on, she gained greater talent herself and doubled her career prospects as a pianist. She began considering a alto major and attended a national public course which was taught by this guy named Joseph Corbell. And by 74, she was included into Phi Beta Kappa Society and awarded a PA cum laude. Now, when she graduated from the college. She graduated from college by 75. Around about the summer of 79, she was interim rad corporate at the Santa Monica, California. Now, by 81, she received a PhD in political science, and also she was at Denver, and she was sensitive to military policies and politics. Now, between 80 to 81, she was a fellow at Stanford University, and also she was also into politics. Rice by until 1982, she was a Democrat, but she changed to Republican. Uh, And she disagreed with Jimmy Carter's policies. Now, for that good time, for that while, she served, in different venues in politics. Roundabouts from 81 to 87. She was a professor in political science in Stanford. In 85, was arms control expert at Stanford, and she even she was at dealings with Mikhail Gorbachev and Boris Yeltsin. Now, because of her electoral in her intelligence and tenure at Stanford, she returned in 91, and where she's under the wing of George P. Shultz. He was a Reagan Secretary of State back in the day. Now, she was later on. She's in around 92. She volunteers her serve as a a search committee to replace outgoing President Donald Kennedy. Over at the school at Stanford. Now, later on, she had some special interests, like she drew prospects when she was deported. Different whatever. I'm not giving you all details just because I'm not a big fan of Condoleezza Rice. Now, during that time, she had gained many roles, so like she worked with different people, and then she's also around 2000, she signed the nuclear non some treaty with North Korea. And it's just a lot of stuff here. But she traveled the world. But as you know, by around 2005, she took Colin Powell's place. When Colin Powell disagreed with the how the U.S. got into Iraq, and being him, he worked during George W.'s father's time, as he was a general. You remember, and she took his place because she kind of agreed with. I would say like this, she kind of agreed with George W.'s policies, and she became the first woman of color to become ambassador, become the Secretary of State, and she also supported the war against Iraq. She was a national security advisor from 2001 to 2005 before she became Secretary of State, and and she often met with the CIA and stuff about issues with especially with the after the attack of 9/11. Now, she has been world travel. She met people like, here's this the late Colonel Ammar Gaddafi. Here she is with Donald Rumsfeld and Donald Cheney, and it's they made a mess. And she talked to different heads of states, and prime ministers during her time. Here's with one of the prime ministers from Canada, and here she is with Putin. That's a mess right now. I don't know what's going on. This guy's just showing off. He likes to flex. People think he's a great leader, and being the one of the few black women to be working in a Republican administration. It's kind of like remember back in the day with what's the face Omarosa was working with Donald Trump, but even though she is a Republican and her support of the whole Bush administration, she does support things for our community, for children, for um, people want to go to college, and I can respect her for that part. But other part I don't respect her for. And she's always been, I think, a woman of staunch ideologies, education. You gotta respect the woman who she is. Her how she come a long way from growing up in Birmingham around about time. And Birmingham was probably one of the most racist, um, you know, cities in the state of Alabama. And and she's a like I said, she has a talent for the cello and music. She wanted to be a pianist. She wanted to be in orchestra, but she found a path in politics. And she has quite a few books she wrote about her, her biography, and also about herself coming up, growing up, in the South, this young girl, then transitioning, going to something like the Colorado, and getting education and studying college. And she's also an avid golf player. She likes to play golf. She's here. She's at the Masters. You know, only black people I've seen at golf is Tiger Woods. So she's the second one. But like I said, I'm not a fan of Condoleezza Rice and who she supported and what party she was. But I do respect that the fact this was a black woman in politics. It's tough for a sister to find a path and such like this, especially a white male dominant career. You know. But like I said, also she's an honorary doctorate and all that. She has been honored by several colleges and schools. And yeah, that's great. She has done some great things, but some things I don't like. But like I said, and also some people compare her to Suzanne Rice. They're no relation. They just, all people, what is, I'm not telling you black people, or white people like to say that all black people look alike. There's no, these two ladies don't look much alike. Susan Rice worked as the advisor to the UN for the United States under Obama's administration. But these are two great women. I should do Susan Rice instead of Condoleezza Rice. But truthfully, Condoleezza Rice did it first, and then maybe next time I do Susan Rice. But like I said, she is a woman who has a passion and commitment to politics. She has done things for this country. Some things that, like I said, I don't support. But you know what? There's things that have been done, especially times of war. But like I said, I'm not a fan of Miss Rice, but I do give her some respect for what she has done and what she has accomplished, especially being a black woman. You remember the great late Malcolm X says the black woman is the most disrespected person in the United States, and and I do have some respect for her, but not that much. But like I said, this is about recognizing a lady who has done something, made accomplishments in Black history, and that's what it's about. She is part of our history. No matter what her political interests are or affiliations, she has done something that most women, and especially in our community, have not ever done. Anyway, it's me all the way George Page, aka the Emperor. Oh, sorry, it's me all the way George Page. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out.